we've seen or heard of anything from this tent city that was constructed to try to make more room, try to make more space for all of the migrant children in the United States right now. And two United States politicians were among the first in there.
Back against criticism after a government watchdog report showed how detention facilities along the southern border are in turmoil. President Trump tweeted yesterday, quote, if illegal immigrants are unhappy with the conditions, just tell them not to come. Sounds like a policy of deterrence. There, Maria.
According to CNBC.com, published on Wednesday, June 20th, 2018, the average cost for these migrant children being held in these detention centers and tent city vary between two different things. The detention center actually costs $139.40, which is the cheaper option. Apparently in the tent cities, the children, it costs $775 a night for these beds to be had for these children. Now, if we're foregoing all emotion about the human condition here, then like the average stay of these extended visits is actually 44 days, which is about a month and a half to the layperson. And in the year 2018, there were 51,379 people reported in these facilities. Now, these numbers come from the actual, ICE website and also from, as the aforementioned, CNBC.com. So, by the way, I got all of it written down. References and stuff will be noted on the videos and pictures and stuff that I have. I don't even need to say that. I'm just recording shit. Now, not all of my sources actually reported this. This is actually, for me, this was the most average number as far as everything. Like, in July of 2019, the Office of the Inspector General revealed that in 2018, there were 49,100 children unaccompanied placed into these ORR facilities. So that means that maybe, the 2018 number is a little bit askew, but it was happening during that year, which means that that's going to be a little bit, you see the advancement and the progression of the information given. But we're going to go off the 2018 because that was when this was the big hoopla. That's when everything was going on. So according to Wikipedia, 396,448 people were booked into ICE custody during the year of 2018. 242,778 of whom were detained by the Border Patrol and 153,670 by ICE's own enforcement agencies and agents. Daily average of immigrants that were processed were roughly about 42,188. So you can see how these numbers are all over the place, but I'm just going to go off of the one that seems to be the most average for that specific time. So based on these findings, for one single adult migrant held for 44 days, that would cost on average $5,895.56. Obviously, we get that number from taking the average daily cost and multiplying it by the 44 days. So since we were told in the original number I read, which was 51,379 people were held in ICE's own facilities, and this was ICE's own number, we're also told that we can assume that 40,075 of those were adult, while if we subtract that from ICE's own statistical number, we'll get that there were 11,300 of which we can assume were children in these facilities at this time during that year, which, like I said, according to other numbers, it's going to be a little bit askew. One number says there was like a bajillion, the other one says there was not enough, and I'm just trying to go with the middle of the road here. So if you wanted to research this and get your own findings, go for it. I would love to do this, and you'll see why. So if we go off of our number earlier that we found with the children staying in the tent cities, then you take the number of 775 and you multiply that by 44, and you come to the number of $34,100 per child staying in that facility. That's the cost for the 44 days or the month and a half that they have to stay there. And then if you go to the detention centers and you look at their number, which their number was the $139.40, and you multiply that times 44, then you come up with, it would be $6,133.60 per child in that facility to be processed for the entire extent of that 44 days. So the cost estimated at the info given would be $385,466,400 per year for the $775, or the lower estimate of the $69,334,214.40 for the juvenile detention centers, like I said. But so we're going to go with that lower number of the detention centers because, you know, we're going to do like the government, and we're going to go with the lowest bid, okay? The reason why I brought up the government, ironically, is because according to an article posted on February 21st in 2019 by the Congressional Institute, the average congressional yearly salary is $174,000. And the Speaker of the House and the Minority Leader also make a little bit more, but, you know, fuck them. We're just going to assume they're average Joes, too. There are 100 members, obviously, of the Senate and 435 members of the House of Representatives, or 535 members of Congress in total. So with that average, the yearly salary of Congress just in general is $93,090,000 to pay for all 535 members of Congress to work during the periods of times in which they work. And that's only taxpayer money. That is like no lobbyist money. That's like no sponsorships. That's nobody saying like, hey, Daddy Big Law, can you do this for me? I got some extra chi-chi for you. You know, so I'm not including that in there. So why is that important, Dennis? Why are you suddenly bringing up the government now with, you know, all of this information you're chucking at us about these kids in cages, right? So the reason why that I'm bringing up this is because Congress handles a lot of issues, which, you know, a lot of times it's because us, the citizen, the constituents, would like them to do it. But unfortunately, as of January 13th, 2021, our money was suddenly being spent on an impeachment process of a president who was then had roughly about 7 days left in, you know, his tenure as president. He is the lame duck president. He was the guy on the way out, right? So we've now been in this impeachment process from the time period of January 13th to, you know, the day of the acquittal, which was just February 13th, 2021. So we're going to call that 1 month. We're going to call that 1 month. And during that process, all 535 members of Congress were paid. And during that 30 days of the money that we said earlier, you know, based off the salary and stuff, then we can figure out for that 30 days that the total Congress money spent, like, you know, just for them to be there, just for them to be like, oh, what day? Oh, not yet. So, you know, just for that 30-day period of them to just be there, that was $7,651,232.87 of taxpayer money for them to do that, which they themselves chose to do. Not all of us decided that, you know, like I would like that same money to be put towards, something awesome. Maybe, towards the freeing of those kids that were, just forementioned in those detention centers and in those tent cities and stuff, because all of that congressional money is actually based off of 2018 stuff. Like I said, this is all based off of 2018. And Congress actually just voted to up their own salary with this last stimulus package, and they are now making $40,000 more per year. So that's 535 times 40,000 of your money for them to do shit like this. So just to really piss you off, if none of that pisses you off like it pisses me off, then I'm just going to go in something, because we got like this last little bit of my paper here to go through, dog. So just bear with me. We're going to tie these two things together, all right? Each number got paid a total of, and it's a grand total collectively of $7,651,232.87 collectively during this month. Each member making an average of $14,301.36 per day based off the $174,000 for 365 days, right? So, I mean, that's it. So that's how we got the number. Now, how much of that taxpayer money could have actually been used to free these kids, right? All of it. We're going to say all of it, right? So if we were to take all of that 30 days of Congress just sitting there fucking themselves in the ass with their own dick, then what we're basically looking at is, so for 30 days, we take the $7,651,232.87 and we divide that by the lower individual rate of the $6,133.60, which means that month, 1,247.4 children on average could have been processed through our whole 44-day process that they have to endure for trying to get freedom at a lower price, right? And I mean, there are ways to do it. There are ways that they should have gone about it so that they would not had to have taken that. There are definitely both sides of the fence here, but at some point we're going to have to be human and really look at the fact that it's not about those kids so much. They're trying to do better because they want to do better. Meanwhile, we have a bunch of people sitting in Congress that are doing better, have been doing better for like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years sometimes. And these guys are just sitting there incumbent with justice for all, especially them, right? So my point being, after all of this, and associating these two things together, why not term limits? Why not salary caps? Why can't we, the people, be the ones who vote for Congress to get a vote, for even the chance of getting a raise?